This Week in Gaming with Naomi Kyle.
Hello everyone, I'm Naomi Kyle and welcome back to This Week in Gaming. This week we're catching up on the lawsuit between Nintendo and Palworld, Microsoft's quarterly earnings, and the role of generative AI in video game development. We've got all of this week's gaming news, so let's get started. The layoffs that have plagued the video game industry could be linked to, you guessed it, AI. Generative AI, more specifically, has been quickly adopted by Microsoft and EA in favor of streamlining the development process. But is that really the case? A recent study from Upwork suggests that AI tools are actually causing more problems than they are solving. In total, 77% of those employees studied have reported that AI is increasing their workload and making their job more difficult. In a similar but separate instance, Business Insider has received claims for anonymous employees that Reef GPT, an AI chatbot used at EA, has on several occasions written bad code or has straight up hallucinated, causing confusion among members of EA's staff. Despite this, EA continues to push AI and has spent the past year urging its nearly 15,000 employees to use AI for just about everything. A recent development has been made in the legal battle between Nintendo and Palworld developer Pocket Pair. A patent submitted by Nintendo to the Japan Patent Office seeks to establish ownership over the monster capture mechanic in games. Unsurprisingly, the patent has been rejected by the Patent Office, citing that the patent lacks originality. This is great news for Palworld's defense, since part of Nintendo's suit against Palworld focuses on the narrative that Palworld is stealing the idea of capturing monsters from Pokemon. In Palworld's defense, Pokemon's monster catching mechanic has spawned an entire genre of games centered around the idea of capturing and battling monsters like Shin Megami Tensei, Monster Hunter, and Ark, all of which predate Palworld. Now the ball is in Nintendo's court, where they have until December 21st to submit amendments to their patent. It's been a rough summer for Xbox. Microsoft's latest earnings report shows Xbox hardware revenue dropped a hefty 30% year over year for this past quarter, and that's before the recent price hikes kicked in. Not to mention, Xbox was hit hard by Microsoft's recent layoffs, which led to the game cancellations like the Perfect Dark reboot and Rare's long-in-the-works Everwild. Despite all that, Microsoft still had some positive news to report. They've seen some surprising gains from subscriptions and third-party game sales. The company's total revenue also climbed by 17% to $77.7 billion. And CEO Satya Nadella had this to say about their very public AI expansion, saying, "We're building a planet-scale cloud and AI factory. We'll increase our AI capacity by 80% this year and nearly double our data center footprint over the next 2. So in short, while Xbox may be struggling, Microsoft's bigger picture is looking up and very AI-driven. We'll have more to discuss on this with our guest this week, so stay tuned. The PlayStation Portal has served as a solid solution for playing PlayStation games on the go, but since it relies on a home PS5 console and a strong Wi-Fi connection, it isn't the complete package some gamers were hoping for. Fortunately for them, it seems like Sony has plans to update the Portal in the near future. A sharp-eyed Redditor posted a screenshot of a listing on the PlayStation Store with a note that reads, "Buy this game and then stream and play instantly on PS Portal or PS5, only with PS Plus Premium." Shortly after the post, PlayStation pulled the footnote from this listing, unintentionally raising suspicions further that they are in fact whipping up an update for the Portal. If true, this could mean that PS Plus Premium members will no longer need a PS5 to play the Portal, making it a cost-effective and portable method to play PS5 titles. Would be pretty neat.
Quest complete.
So that's the news for this week. It's now time to chat with our guest. Victor Lucas joins us to chat about AI in video game development, the Xbox console revenue being down, and a whole lot more.
Select game mode. Multiplayer.
Hey, Victor. Welcome back to This Week in Gaming. So good to have you back on the show, especially
Thanks
after
for having me.
what a wild, just to talk about sports for a little bit here.
Yeah.
Blue Jays did not win this time around versus the Dodgers.
Oh my God.
I'm so sad.
There was this moment where it's coming close to the end, and you're kind of realizing that one of these teams has to win, and it could go either way, and
Yeah.
it looked like the Jays were really going to do it. I mean,
know.
they were so strong.
I was like, Game 6, they're going to take this. They're going to win.
Yeah. And then it went to Game 7, and
yeah.
You know what shocked me is that I was really bummed out, but I wasn't like devastated, and I think it's because it could have gone either way that whole time.
That's true.
That both teams were really good for whatever reasons. A lot of angry Toronto Blue Jays fans out there say that the LA bought its way to the championship. I don't know. I don't know enough about baseball to know that. All I know is I watched incredible plays and these incredible games, and man, it was so entertaining. And the Jays were awesome. What an amazing squad they had this year.
Oh yeah, they really showed off like their skills, and I think that everyone brought their A game, and it's okay. It's okay. There's always next year, and So I was definitely out here like one of the outliers in LA, like being like, go Blue Jays, being Canadian and everything. But yeah, that was so fun. I very much was rooting for them, but things sometimes just have to go a certain way, and that's okay.
It's a coin flip a bit, right? Like at the end, it's when they were so evenly matched, clearly, like they just went back and forth. That 18-inning game.
Yeah.
They did. And you just didn't know how it was going to go. And like, there was nobody choking. It was just like, like it was, that was a double play at the very end. It was a hit, it was a solid hit. The guy would have come to base, but, the other two players got taken out on their bases by like a great double play, which was an exciting way to end the game. But then it was over. I was like, it was crazy.
So wild. Speaking of wild, we're going to touch on one of the big topics right now in gaming because, AI is it's the thing. It's the thing right now. Everyone's talking about it. EA, of course, has gone through a number of layoffs, Microsoft, a bunch of places in the gaming space. And EA has been confirmed to have it be primarily attributed to the fact that they've adopted AI in some of their processes. And a story this week came out that there's been a study saying how AI actually causes more of a workload for people than reducing the workload. Do you think companies, not necessarily EA in particular, but do you think companies right now are just putting too much stock into what AI can do for folks? And is it the wrong approach at this point? Or it's not there, the tech isn't there yet, really?
Yeah, I mean, that's the great fear that is rippling through the business sector right now, because so much of the world's economy, because we have so many companies that are $1 trillion, or NVIDIA is now worth $5 trillion, and there's so much stock invested into these companies. They're investing in each other. There's a lot of what's called round tripping that's happening right now that I keep hearing about, where this company will buy a chunk of this company to kind of prop up the stock value, but also the dependency or the awareness of AI as a potential for these businesses to grow into. And that's what we've been sold, is the potential of AI.
Right.
And what we recognize around AI right now is things like Sora and ChatGPT and like search engine type stuff. And I think what we're going to see with the creative arts and video games and movies and all that stuff is the adoption of AI to help smooth out some processes that are about replication. A lot of the same kinds of menial tasks over and over and over again. But I think it's going to be a long time before AI can be trusted to not be stealing other creative work and employing that into new work. I think that copyright is going to get really, really strange as AI becomes increasingly more adopted in the creative space, because what people can create as an asset right now, they can say that we built all of this stuff, but the minute that they're using AI to scrape ideas and concept art and things, I mean, we saw what happened with Marathon, and some of the art that was taken from somebody else. Well, amplify that by 1,000,000-fold if you're going to start using AI to scrape the internet, unless you're doing something like what Adobe has done, where they're paying people to build them art so that they can scrape it and sell it back, copyright, without any concerns around copyright to its subscribers. At least that's what we are understanding around Adobe.
Games out this week.
Starting on November 4th, Europa Universalis 5 strategizes exclusively on PC. Football Manager 26 scores on PS5, PC, mobile, Xbox Series X and S, and is available day one on Game Pass Ultimate. And Master Lemon, The Quest for Iceland, is speaking my language on PS5, PC, Switch, and Xbox Series X and S. On November 5th, Playgun decontaminates the PC. The Fable manga Build Roguelike and Dincome take a trip down under on PC and Nintendo Switch. And Biped 2 waddles onto all platforms. Then on November 6th, Siberia Remastered and Unbeatable groove their way onto the PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S, and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment Undo the Past exclusively on Nintendo Switch 2. On November 7th, a pizza delivery hand tosses on PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. On November 10th, Mineral Madness and Ambrosia Sky Act 1 clean house exclusively on PC. The Epic Game Store is offering just one free game this week. Felix the Reaper will be available for download from November 6th until the 13th. And PS Plus subscribers can look forward to 3 free games for the month of November: WRC 24, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, and Stray. All of these titles will be free and available to download from November 4th until December 1st.
Quest accepted.
But I found an awesome quote actually on Reddit that kind of speaks to what may be some of the frustrations at EA right now. This is from a guy named, or a person named Bed Intruder. I don't know who they are, but they have a lot of karma on Reddit. They said, I'm a graphic designer and AI has had the exact opposite effect of cutting labor, in quotes. My boss just swamps me with hundreds of AI design concepts he came up with in seconds on a weekly basis. I then spent countless hours sifting through them, picking out a few that look halfway decent for the given project, and then spend more time recreating them in Adobe and actually making them presentable as something we could use. And that just sounds, endlessly frustrating for anybody, right? And it's, I think what we're seeing is that executives are understanding the way to cut labor costs or to employ AI for ideation and for concepting and stuff, but that's not the building of the asset. That's not the building of the work.
Right.
It should be a tool to speed process, not to take over the frickin' process, not to be like, I'll just cut this all together and I'll do this background. And it's like, no, we don't want the machines to do that. We want humans to have that creative input and to dream it up, and then the machines help us get to that, But
I can imagine.
I don't know.
I'm in the same boat where when I'm editing something, I'm like, I wish I could just put in a prompt and be like, I want each transition to be like this for these parts of the script or whatever it is.
Totally.
Add these little bumpers in between or something like that, and have it do it in the vision that I had in mind, as opposed to it coming up with its own ideas of what to do. Well, let's move on then to Xbox. Another thing that's happening in the industry is Xbox is I don't know, in a weird spot right now. And it just came out that they have their hardware sales, the revenue that they make for hardware sales has fallen 30% year over year. Yeah. Which, I don't know if it's a surprise per se, but we've definitely seen that Xbox has fallen a little behind when it comes to the big three, at the moment.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of talk around TikTok versus video games over the last little while. Satya Nadella and I think Matt Booty was talking about it, and then it's all over Twitter and everything else right now. And I think that is an element. Like TikTok is definitely a force for attention right now. It's unequivocal that we are all being consumed by watching short videos, wherever you are, YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. They're everywhere. There's value in them, but they're pernicious. They're everywhere. And I really feel like the video game industry's got to reconcile time. Time is this big boss battle that it has right now. And I'm still seeing a lot of games that take a long time to get going. They're too long. Yeah. I've been very vocal about my concerns about forever games,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and live service.
Yeah.
It seems to have made some companies very wealthy and very successful, and then it's devastated others. And I think it's created great wealth and great harm in in the games business. But
Yeah.
that's kind of a truth around games since their inception. It has always been this ever evolving medium, and
Yeah.
it's not figured out. And so
No.
when I read about Xbox, I recognize that the cost to manufacture these machines has gone up. The lack of desire on the user base to be Xbox exclusive, because the Xbox is publishing everywhere, has made an effect on hardware sales. The pricing on it, the fact that Game Pass is available on PC and other platforms, so you don't even need an Xbox to be an Xbox, has really driven people in different directions.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can ascertain if this has been successful, but the one thing that I will say about the strategies around Xbox is that we're hearing about it too often. Like, we just are getting these new introductions to the business plans and philosophies of Xbox like every 6 months, it feels like,
Right.
and that's tied to price increases, and it's tied to end of year kind of financials. And it's like, I'm sick of the business. Like, they're obviously publishing some excellent games.
Right.
Let's hear about those games some more, like.
Yeah.
We didn't hear anything about Keeper. That was a really cool game. It
That's
just like came and
true.
went,
That's true. I wonder if it's a kind of a response to people being like, we want companies to be more transparent and, talking about what they're doing. And I think just as an industry too, gamers are just super curious about that stuff. So I wonder if it was just a response to that. And now we're like, it's okay. Don't do too much of that.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they're figuring it out, and I think they've made some huge swings. They've spent a lot of money on acquiring the biggest publishers in the world. They own so much IP. They've got so many great irons in the fire.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have enough people running their gaming division, quite frankly. And I don't know if, they have the time and the, aptitude or the ability to kind of give each product that they're helping to bring to the world enough attention.
Yeah.
But I also know they're not done. And I also know that Microsoft isn't done with hardware. I think that this is, as it always is in video games, a recalculation. They're going to take in this data and these numbers. I think that Microsoft execs at the higher level are definitely being more participatory in decision making. And they're, we've seen the quotes that they're looking for 30% return on their investments from games, which is
That's
a
story
really high percent.
I don't even think we covered on our show. So, but that is a big thing. Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, you pick the biggest topics in the world right now.
I know. We could talk about these for so long, too, because there's just so much to them.
Oh, there is. And it's not like, everything is perfect with PlayStation right now either. I feel like PlayStation has got some excellent games out there, and they've got they're sitting in the catbird seat in terms of a console with the horsepower, but we're waiting for big chunks of time between. They just have the incredible Ghost of Yotei, but their first party catalog is their bread and butter. It's their beautiful stuff, and they had pivoted to so much live service and sort of got stung by that. And so we're waiting for more titles from them, which has left a lot of PlayStation fans feeling like
slow roll.
Where are the suite, this cadence of games like there was on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3? I don't think we've had that same kind of
no. And we're already at the end of the year at this point. So.
Yeah. And we're talking about PlayStation 6 at this point. And the other thing, like, I think Nintendo and now Xbox, although the allies are a little messy because of the Windows integration, they're really showing that the hardware definition of play anywhere is a very exciting component of the video game space, and Xbox needs to figure that out with their partnership with Asus and make that the back end software on those devices as non-dependent on Windows as possible. So that if people choose to just get right into Xbox, they can, and also play more of the back catalog that people have. And then PlayStation, I think, needs to I hope as a fan, I love all these companies. I want them to step up with their new PSP. I want their new a new PlayStation Portable. And I think Nintendo's done quite well. I hate to sound like a Nintendo fanboy, but I think they've done quite well. It's probably priced higher than everybody wants it to be, but the Switch 2 has had a pretty damn good year. It's selling really well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good, third-party and first-party games on it. And but I've been playing great games on all the machines. Like playing Keeper was awesome. Played Ninja Gaiden 4 on Xbox Series X, and it was just absolutely stunning.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like this is still an industry that's evolving, and it's being, we still need to kind of celebrate the wins of it and talk about the incredible art and the work that's out there, like Outer Worlds, the Outer Worlds 2 is incredible.
Another great game.
Gorgeous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm playing that on Xbox Series X.
Started playing that. It's really cool.
Wonderful.
It's really cool. And I love the story and I love the characters, and they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah, and I'm playing Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D right now, which is stunning, like this kind of retro remix in a beautiful way. Like, this has been an incredible year for games. I don't think it's been the Grand Theft Auto 6 year for games. I think we're about to have that, oh my God, I can't believe this year next year.
That's next year.
But there's been so many 9s, or 8.5s out of 10 this year.
Yeah.
And that's great,
It's good.
And we should be happy for that.
Yeah. Well, we're about to celebrate it here with the Game Awards coming up soon. So I'm
Big
ready.
time.
I'm ready to celebrate all the good stuff. Well, thanks, Victor. It's always so great having your perspective on the show. And thanks for being on video for the first time. For those of you guys who don't know, we have a video version of the show now available on iHeart This Week in Gaming podcast on YouTube. So go check it out. And thank you as always, Victor. It's so great to chat with you. Have a good rest of your week.
Oh, you too. And go Jays next year.
Oh, yeah. I'm rooting for them. I want them to bring their A game one more time. Let's see if we can take it home.
Big time. Thanks, Naomi. See you later.
Victor Lucas is a content creator and host of The Electric Playground. You can follow him on Twitter at Victor_Lucas.
Flawless victory! Continue!
And that's This Week in Gaming. I'm your host, Naomi Kyle. I had such a blast bringing you the news this week. Thank you so much for listening. And shout out to my co-writer, Josh Seaman. From all of us here at This Week in Gaming, we wish you a fun-filled week, and we'll see you same time, same place. Talk to you later.
This Week in Gaming is an iHeartRadio Canada podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app for more podcasts just like these.